Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. Showing from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Well, good morning and welcome. It's Wednesday, the 23rd day of October 2024. I am Moses Humphrey and I welcome you on board. Well, former lawmaker Farouk Lawan released from prison after serving 5-year jail term. As Lagos AAC chairman, lambast APC government for their conduct against protesters, the hashtag #EndSARS protesters memorial, those that were arrested during the memorial protest. Well, these and more are the conversations we'll be dwelling on this beautiful Wednesday morning.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. I am Chukwuma Okoro. Away from that, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has said that Nigeria is a disappointment to itself, to Africa, and the rest of the world. Even as the Efcc minister, Nyesom Wike, has asked beggars to vacate the streets of Abuja by Monday, 27th of October, or risk arrest.
Interesting. Vacate or risk arrest. That's what the minister is saying. Spitting fire, of course. Well, join us as we get into these conversations and how to do so. Be part of the station on YouTube, your Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Ensure that you're part of the family. All right, so let's touch on some of the issues before we get into the papers and then get into the conversation proper. Well, after 2 days, sit at home or ordered by IPOB agitators, the Enugu State government have they've issued a stern warning to schools and businesses that complied with IPOB's 2-day sit-at-home order. But Professor Chidebere Onya, secretary to the state government, made it clear that entities adhering to this directive will face sanctions. But the police commissioner, Anayo Uzuegbu, also warned that any individual or group attempting to disrupt peace in the state will face severe consequences. Well, the government's resolve is to maintain normalcy in businesses and schools, ensuring residents can go about their daily activities without fear. How well is the government of Enugu State doing this? How well are governors in the southeast doing this? Oh, well, I think they allow this to fester. If not, I mean, if you want to compare places like Ebonyi, when the sit-at-home started, they basically resisted it. So it's not even holding sway in places like that. But in some other parts of the east, Enugu included, it has persisted. Well, when the governor, Peter Mbah, came into office, he was spitting fire, saying no. But a few times that people, decided to go with the governor, certain parts of the state where people came out, they faced the consequences because the perpetrators, they were holding sway in those areas. They basically attacked people, burned motorbikes, burnt shops, killed people. All right, and it just feels like the security agencies cannot cover the entire state. But I think the governor is still doing well. I think he's doing well. How much impact will this hold? I wait to see.
Moses, I think the Southeast governors may not be very well knowledged in the act of peacekeeping in conflict-prone areas. I say that in the light of the fact that when the issue of IPOB sit at home, made on the scene, they became excessively combative. And in a situation where you have non-state actors, roll into the streets, before this moment, there will have been some kind of exclusion, from peaceful means of resolution of crisis. So the track they followed didn't help matters. In Anambra State, when Soludo, ahead of his swearing-in ceremony, was smoking fire, he became very combative. It didn't work. Hope Uzodinma became very combative. It didn't work. What's his name? Ebonyi. They tried to resist. And when they discovered that it was not an issue of resistance, they scaled down. In Abia State, Okezibazu clearly, I don't know how he managed it, but from 2021 up until the advent of this administration, Moses, there was no sit at home in the state capital. And by 2022, students started going to school. Public and private schools, shops were opening, big markets weren't open, but small businesses were open. Peter Mbak came also, and the measure, the non-kinetic measure that
he was trying to employ.
No, that Ugwuanyi had used, to ensure peace in Enugu State. He overturned it. And what happened? He became combative, and, the people resisted again. That is why, even when he says that people should come out on sit-at-home days, people don't, because when they tried it, like 3 or 4 people were killed. And one funny thing, Peter Mba has a business called, what's the name of that? Is a filling station. On top of my head, I can't remember, but I'll recall in the course of the show. Do you know that on sit-at-home days, you see an APC, armored personnel vehicle, guarding that filling station? Filling stations across Enugu State. And people, as governor, you ask us to roll out into the streets, to go to school, go to work, open market. Then you use APC to guard their own businesses. So what happens to the ordinary person? So what I'm trying to say is, see, the thing is there with the Southeast, it's within the Southeast. You don't use combat for combat. It wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work. The thing is, I like the fact that he wants to de-escalate tension. But the way he's going about it, I'm not sure that he's using the right track.
Basically,
that is why it's not working.
The people are now at the center of it all. The people are being threatened not to come out, and they are being threatened to come out. So it puts them in a difficult place.
In a difficult place. So there's a place for dialogue. There's a place for dialogue within the non-state actors, the intelligence community, and the government, because it's difficult for me to believe that the intelligence community do not know the people behind this. If they don't know, then their work is cut out for them. They need to do more. They need to do more.
Well, I like to believe that they do.
Yes, they do.
I like to believe that.
No, they do.
It's government.
Yes, they do. So the earlier this thing is resolved, the better for everybody in the Southeast.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, still dwelling in the Southeast, the Abia State government, led by Governor Alex Oti, has sparked controversy by imposing a tax on church signposts, prompting the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, to condemn the move as potentially anti-church. Well, this condemnation was issued in a letter to the governor. Well, CAN urged reconsideration, citing Abia as the only state in Nigeria demanding such a tax, and proposed a roundtable discussion to find a mutually beneficial solution. Well, the governor has said churches will pay taxes for, signposts. And, I had to look around. In other climes, I think, churches are taxed to some extent. To the extent that if you're putting up a billboard, if you're putting up, a billboard, if it's for a program, you will pay for it. Church employees are taxed. The church is a church that registers as a charity organization, and there are criteria to meet. If you want to, if a church is registered as a charity organization, you have to give back something to the community. where you are situated, if you register, you can be exempted from such tax. So I think, well, like Khan has said, they should have a roundtable. They should discuss further. And if the churches are getting monies, you know, I don't see any harm in paying a tax if you're putting up a billboard. You know, and in my opinion, that will also curtail the spread of such, you know, billboards around the state. Well, up there is the letter by the Christian Association of Nigeria. Well, that's it. Anyway.
Well, Moses, I think what Khan is saying, if Khan is asking for a roundtable discussion, I would rather say that they do a square table discussion, you know, so that they are able to cut off the rough edges and now make it round at the end of the day. And now make it round at the end of the day. If you ask me and a lot of people, I think churches have become businesses. No two ways about it.
Absolutely.
It's like that.
Is that straightforward?
Is that straightforward? I mean, if they are registered entities with the Corporate Affairs Commission, you know, under the CAMD, is it amended 2021 or whatever, so they should pay taxes. They're making so much money. They sponsor people. They buy equipment. They do businesses. They run schools.
Oh, yes.
They run schools.
Oh, yes.
You know?
So they should pay taxes.
They should pay taxes. So I don't see why there's a discussion around this and why Khan is being touchy, you know, about the whole thing. I think they are being touchy. You know, what are they trying to protect? Their concern should be, if I'm to speak for Khan, I should ask Khan to now begin to serve as a pressure group, you know, to hold the government responsible for what the tax monies are used to do. You know, but ask for tax. Churches should pay tax. That's it for me.
That's it, plain and simple. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, in my opinion, they might not pick. It might not be, you know, wholesome, but certain aspects of it, like I said earlier, like it's done in other climes. Certain issues, members, those that work, the pastors that are being paid should be taxed. If you put up a billboard showing, I mean, if there's a signpost that shows the name of the church, you may be exempted from some level of tax. But then if you're advertising a program, you'll pay.
All right.
You'll pay tax. That's my opinion.
All right. Away from that, the federal government has established a committee to investigate the recurring collapse of national grid, aiming to identify the root causes and prefer solutions to ensure a stable and efficient electricity supply. Well, meanwhile, Nigeria's Economic Financial Commission, EFCC, has sounded the alarm on the country's alarming cybercrime rate, revealing a $500 million loss in 2022, with global losses projected to reach $10.5 trillion by 2025. EFCC Chairman Ola Olukoyede and First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu have emphasized the need for collective action against cybercrime, citing its distortion of field values and threat to economic stability and reputation. The EFCC is establishing a cybercrime response desk and planning a research and rehabilitation center, having secured 3,455 convictions and recovered significant assets, while the First Lady urges parents, law enforcement, educational institutions, and community leaders to guide children with good values, morals, and patriotism to combat these menace. Moses, committee upon committee. The other day I said party after party, party after party. That is what we have become. I mean, you want to set up a committee to investigate the cause of national grid?
I thought I said it was an explosion, a transformer explosion or something that caused the recollapse of the grid collapsed, and then a few hours or I think a day or so it collapsed again. Well, let them set up the committee.
It's simply a distraction, if you ask me. I mean, the TCN has a chief executive officer. Why don't you just call him, ask him to
answer questions?
To answer questions, ask him to tell you why the collapse is in constant collapse every other time. And like we said the other time, this is the 9th time this year alone. And I said it collapsed 12 times within the regime of Muhammadu Buhari. And you and I did a bit of research, and we found out that In the past 14 years, this grid has collapsed 229 times.
27 times.
No, if you add the ones of this year, 229 times. I mean, and you are setting up a committee to do what? Committee to sit, and then after the committee, you now set up another committee to review the outcome, the findings of that committee. You now set up a committee headed by the secretary to the federal government to head another committee that will now head the committee that will report to the committee that will report to the president. I mean, it's pure distraction, Moses. This shouldn't be. If the average Nigerian knows that we are dealing with infrastructural decay. We have not done an upgrade for a very long time. Simons came here, they were frustrated. While they were working in one section of the national grid, another section was being cannibalized by Nigerians. And we have law enforcement agencies that couldn't even account for what happened. And Simons they are going back and forth. And now, after this collapse, you want to set up another committee. To do what? For crying out loud. To do what?
To find answers.
Hopefully. And now set up a committee to review the answers.
Well, we'll wait to see.
Committee after committee.
It's interesting how things are done in Nigeria, but let's be clear that this is not the ideal way of doing things. This is not the ideal way of administering a state. If people are employed to oversee a sector, if anything goes wrong in that sector, they should be held accountable. I mean, if you're a managing director of a company, if the company falls short, then you should be held accountable.
Accountable.
Just explain why during your time at a company you're not meeting the target. You should be held accountable. Not to set up a committee to
just spare us these newspaper headlines.
Why these things collapse. Well, talking about newspaper headlines, let's take a break now. When we come back, we'll get into the headlines, of course.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's law.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People, 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV.
All right, welcome back. Good morning to you, Fina. Fina joins the conversation right now. Good morning to you.
Gentlemen of the press.
All right, then. Now, let's get into the conversation now. The papers are here, so let's touch on them. We have the Daily Independent, we have the Vanguard, the Punch, the Guardian newspaper. I'll be starting off with the Daily Independent. The banner headline here, FG plans increase in oil production to ease FX inflow, stabilizes Naira. Subriders says Nigeria on track to meet 2 MBPD before end of 2024. Explains why banks can't lend at single-digit interest rate. All right. And then on top of the nameplate, we have IMF downgrades Nigeria's 2024 economic growth forecast to 2.9%. Supreme Court reserves ruling in 19-state suit challenging EFCC legality. Well, some states have excused themselves from that suit. Another bold headline at the bottom part of the paper: PDP governors, stakeholders zero in on David Mark for party chair. Subrider: party governors deny instituting legal action to hold NEC meeting. And then other headlines around that: FG housing project for judges, systemic bribery, Huriwa. There's something right there. I really cannot. Insist action violates section 4.5. Okay, I really can't see that one. I'm straining to look at that one. Former Rep Farouk Lawan regains freedom from Kuje prison. Court bars Kanu electoral body chairman from conducting LG polls. Faulty transmission line causes power outage in northern Nigeria. Senate probes NDLEA's claims of finding drugs in senator's home. Jigawa tanker explosion, 181 dead, 80 in critical condition, 210 families affected. This is according to the governor. And the bottom strip: EERC assumes full regulation of Enugu electricity market. All right, so these are the headlines in the Daily Independent.
And on the cover page of the Vanguard newspaper this beautiful Wednesday morning, the banner headline there reads, "Unending grid collapses threatened survival of businesses." That is from OPS. The writers to that story call for full privatization of power sector. It hinders economic growth, NECA. Frustrating for manufacturers, that is according to MAN. Mirror infrastructure upgrades insufficient. Full privatization needed, and that is coming from Nasima. Reduces competitiveness of Nigerian businesses, Asborn. And above the masthead, we have the window headlines to be Edo Government APC Transition Committee heading for showdown. The story is on page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper. FG asks Supreme Court to dismiss suit seeking to declare EFCC illegal. PDP crisis, we have reconciled fielding NWC members, and that is coming from Oninola. And FG bans export of LGP as price continues to soar. I'll take that again for clarity's sake. FG bans export of LPG as price continue to soar. The story is on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. And then we have other headlines to be labor demands hold to frequent petrol price increase. Others. 5% excess tax, telcos will soon die like Nitel. MTN CEO Toliora warns. $5 million fuel subsidy bribe. Lawan regains freedom. $5 million fuel subsidy bribe. Lawan regains freedom. The story is on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper, and it's also part of what we're looking at during a major conversation this morning. Nigeria requires purposeful leadership, food security for growth, ex-deputy governors. The story is on page 4 of the Vanguard newspaper. Nigeria has disappointed African black race. That is coming from Olusegun Obasanjo, former president of the nation. Why IMF slashes Nigeria's economic growth forecast to 2.9%. That story is on page 20 of the Vanguard newspaper. And we have the sports news on page 31 of the Vanguard newspaper, and it reads, Libya versus Nigeria. CAF president condemns Super Eagles' inhuman treatment. And those are the headlines that made it to the cover page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
And up next is the Punch with the banner headline, PDP crisis, anti-Damagum plot thickens as NEC meets Thursday. With the rider, PDP governors, NWC, that's the National Working Committee, BOT members meet. Flesh legal battle continues on NEC meeting. And just above the masthead, you have Naira for crude. Dangote gets NNPCL's first supply. That story is on page 19. I'll repeat that for emphasis. Naira for crude. Dangote gets NNPCL's first supply. I think that should be good news to every Nigerian. Local government autonomy. Federal government plans sanctions against defaulting states. That story is on page 2. Nigeria is still borrowing amid high debt costs. IMF. I'll check that again. Nigeria is still borrowing amid high debt costs, according to the IMF. And beside the masthead, you have Ondo governorship poll. 55,859 PVCs collected. INEC extends exercise to local governments. That story is on page 3. No improved infrastructure since LP's exit, according to Edisemi. That story is on page 5 of the Punch. There's a pictorial there. I think it's a flooded area, and people are using canoe to do transportation and all of that, with the headline, Oyang Dam, operators under pressure overriding both demands in flooded communities. And just below that, you have federal government bans cooking gas export over rising prices. That story is on page 19. How Bobrisky spent night in FCID female cell. You can find that story on page 5 of the Punch newspaper. And the last, 250 billion naira debt. Telcos seek NCC approval to stop bank transfer services. That story is on page 19, and that's all from the Punch newspaper.
And on the cover page of the Guardian newspaper, the banner headline reads, FG seeks IMF help as flooding, all output crisis, dampen outlook. The story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper, and then we also have that pictorial, of how flooded areas are having high demand of canoe or people that ferry them so that they will not be inside the water. And then we have other headlines that made it to the cover page of the Guardian to be lost billions. Why government youth empowerment efforts are failing. The story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Disco's planned meter phase out may worsen Nigeria's 7M gap as FCCPC intervenes. I'll tell it again for clarity's sake. Disco's planned meter phase out may worsen Nigeria's 7M gap as FCCPC intervenes. TCN urges claim as faulty cable throws North into darkness. FG and ASU. Can public varsities afford another shutdown? That is a question. And if you need that story, go to the page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. Frequent grid collapse, worsening business outlook. Probate registry issues. I'll tell it again, okay? Probate registry issues ultimatum over Herbert Migwe's estate dispute. Nigeria orders may lose $10.5 trillion to cybercrime next year. And we have the last but not the least of the headlines that made it to the cover page of the Guardian newspaper to be AGF debunks 3 months grace on enforcement of LG autonomy. The story is on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper. And those are the stories that made it to the cover page of the Guardian newspaper. And that's how far we can also go looking at the cover page of the National Journalist this morning. But do well to join Chukuma and Moses for the newspaper analysis proper. That is from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. All
right, then. But now let's get into the conversation. Former lawmaker Farouk Lawan released from prison after serving 5-year jail term. Well, as Lagos AAC and some other Nigerians have lambasted, the AAC chairman, I beg your pardon, have lambasted APC government as on their handling of the NSAS protest memorial. Let's talk about this one when we come back.
Thank you so much for staying with us. It's still VOP this morning. Looking at the major conversation this morning, Farouk Lawan, a former House of Representative member, has been released from prison after serving a 5-year jail term. He was convicted for receiving $500,000 bribe from businessman Femi Otedola and initially sentenced to 7 years imprisonment. Lawan's case was highly publicized, and he was found guilty on all 3 count charges by Justice Angela Otaluka of FCT High Court at Ipob in Enugu District. Lawan's release comes amidst ongoing conversation about corruption and accountability in Nigeria's government. Furthermore, the African Action Congress, AAC, have been vocal about the need for justice and accountability, particularly in regards to police brutality and the hashtag #EndSARS protest, which happened on the 20th of October 2020, where the Nigerian youths were killed at Lekki Toll Gate. And until now, no one has taken responsibility for the attack. Comrade Ayoyinka Oni, chairman of the AAC Lagos State chapter, has criticized the government's response to protest, stating that they have consistently suppressed demonstrations and shown disregard for citizens' rights from the from the previous administration up until this present administration, all under APC. We have with us in the studio this morning, we have Barrister Darlington Agumo, who is a VOP in-house analyst, and also joining us virtually is John Akirele, a journalist and a farmer, also a political analyst. Good morning, Barrister Darlington.
Good morning, Fina, Moses, and Okoro. How are you doing?
Very well. Well, we do believe that as soon as John joins the conversation, we'll bring him in. Well, but Barrister,
Yes.
would you consider, first off, would you say this is justice served?
No.
Why so?
When justice can only be served in this particular instance, if both the bribe giver and the bribe taker are punished.
You don't think the bribe giver blew the whistle, recorded the conversation so as to, exonerate himself and then attest to the fact that bribe has been flying around, especially when it comes to the issue of subsidy?
Let's look at the genesis of this matter. Otedola's company was accused of subsidy scam, and Lawan was the chairman investigating his company. Is it not Zenon?
Zenon Oil.
Zenon
Yes.
Oil. And the investigation indicted is Zenon Oil, whose chairman is Otedola. There is no doubt about it. Instead of Otedola to go and answer for his infraction, he now invited Lawan, the chairman of the committee, to give him a soft landing by inducing him to remove his name from those indicted. And so after all the play, because you and I know that more than that went behind closed doors. For Lawan to have gone to him, it means that he was invited. You see, in a Senate climb, the question is, your company has been indicted. Why did you invite him to your house? Forget that the man that went. Maybe he went there to collect more evidence. But when he got there, the man started other things and all that to give him a soft landing. You know, and he recorded it with the belief that he will use it as evidence against him. Fine, no problem. It means that the two of you have committed a crime. It's as simple as that. It means that two of you have committed a crime. You have given evidence that, yes, you gave him money, and you saw when he was stuffing it in his cap or wherever. Yes, why did you give him money?
Don't you think Otedola might be under duress for him to, bring out the money to give to Mr. Farouk, given the fact that he is the chairman in charge of that committee doing the investigation?
Listen very well. He invited him to his house. Lawan did not invade Otedola's house. Otedola invited him. When he saw that, is it true that Zenon Oil was indicted? The answer is yes. It would have been a different ballgame if there was no indictment here and then maybe the man just wanted to go and collect money. But the fact remains that the oil company was indicted. And the owner wanted to be let off the hook. That was where this bribe came in. In a Senate claim, two of them should have gone in.
But the court accused Mr. Farouk of, demanding $3 million from Femi Otedola to remove Zenon Premium Oil from the, from the list of the people that are actually entangled in that subsidy.
Please, whatever the chairman of that committee did is irrelevant here. We are saying that two of them committed a crime. If he demanded, why did you give him? It's as simple as that. You would have told him, no, I'm not giving. Let me go and face the law. But, okay. That's how to clean up a society. You don't select a punishment. You don't. Okay, Otedola will be basking in the euphoria that, yes, he is above the law. He has sent somebody to jail and nothing happened to him. I mean, have you done justice here?
No, Barrister Darlington, this happened in 2012. And then we also know that there's another committee that was set up to also do that investigation to make sure, to know if Lawal Farouk was actually guilty. And the House of Representatives wanted to, make this case a private one until Otedola decides that it must go public. Now, are you not still saying that Otedola, who won the case to go public now, should also go face the law, given the fact that some people wanted it to be done, behind closed doors?
My dear, I asked a question here. Is it true that Zenon Oil was indicted? If the oil company was indicted, then what are you saying here? No, tell me, what are you saying here? Otedola wouldn't, whether somebody was using him to indict Farouk Lawan or not, if you are clean, you would have said, no, my company is clean. We don't have any issue here. Even if Efcc was using him to indict the chairman of the committee, he should have said why. I mean, I don't have any issue now. But because he knew that he had been indicted, that was why he even offered bribe to be let off the hook. So whatever you do about any other person saying that is neither here nor there.
But Mr. Darlington, is it proper to consider what Otedola did as whistleblowing?
No, it's not. It's not, please. You can only be, oh my God, you can only be blowing
I asked that in the light of the fact that the conversation, the engagement was purely recorded. So Otedola was not out to give bribe. That was why he even recorded the engagement between him and Lawan Farouk. So does that still establish culpability on the part of Otedola?
100%. In fact, he provided evidence.
If it was
whistleblowing, let me tell you, maybe you don't understand the concept of whistleblowing. Let me tell you, Moses, whistleblowing is if you see a crime, be committed somewhere, like they did at Ikoyi. Remember, the innocent man who saw when they were taking the money there, they were packing the money in that particular house at Ikoyi.
First, we understand the
concept. Good. So you don't have anything to do as a whistleblower.
What we're saying, what my colleague is saying, is asking, with the intention, with the fact that he recorded, with the intention to submit as evidence that this lawmaker asked for bribe. Now, we need to establish, was it Otedola that said, look, let me give you bribe? or did the lawmaker ask? So for him to have recorded the conversation, specifying the amount to be paid, getting the number of whom to, well, I think we have the recording for the benefit of the listeners. Let's take a listen to that recording, and then we'll get back to this conversation.
Okay, you take it to your house?
No, I don't want to bring it to my house. It's a lot of money.
Yes. So where? Because I am rushing to the airport now.
Yeah, they're at the airport in the aircraft.
And before they can come over now, unless I send somebody to the airport, I was coming. I can't. By the time they come, I should be in the chambers. I have a lot of things to do myself.
Is there anybody you trust I can give it to, or maybe I should just? Or maybe I postpone my China to tomorrow.
No, it's okay. I would arrange with someone. I would let me give you his number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
His number is 080.
Hold on. 080.
36. 51. 33. 55.
What's his name?
Yeah, TJ.
Sorry?
TJ.
TJ.
No, TJ.
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 Okay.
Yeah, TJ.
So I'll give him the balance. That's
okay.
$2.5 million, yeah?
That's right. Hold on. Just hold on. I'm calling him to be sure he's finished.
There's another recording where Farouk Lawan was talking about the floor of the house. You know, let's take a listen to this one as well.
We are doing, keep it to yourself. Otherwise, you will make it difficult for us.
Okay. I am now.
You will make it difficult because somebody called me now and said that we said we are going to address it. So, please keep it. Yeah, because if it is already out that we are going to do something, when we do it, people will think that we are doing it because we have compromised. And you know, that is something that, and if my colleagues get to hear that, I will be able to convince them. So keep it to yourself. Let it not be like anybody is aware of what is happening.
Okay.
If anybody asks you, simply explain that this thing, you know, from your records, you have all the records, and you have made a case to the committee. You have sent your declaration to the committee. Yeah, it's not for the committee. It's not for the committee to decide what to do. Please keep it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, because the moment it gets out, now we are going to correct it. Then it means we have already. So let it be. I want to bring a surprise on the floor, and that is the only critical way.
God bless my brother. I've been trying. Every time I hear
your sector is small. Everybody knows, and people are already saying. Somebody just called and said, what happened? They said Jamie has gotten away around guys, and he has already.
That is also true, but let me also tell you.
No, I'm saying this. No, I'm saying it because this is what I had.
But my brother, let me also tell you one thing. You know me as
it doesn't have. It doesn't. I know. I want to
get up. People is that.
Yeah, don't make it difficult. Just whoever, you know, no, I didn't do this. I'm sure it must have been a mistake from the committee, but I've sent a letter to set the record right.
All right, so there you have it. The conversation that ensued between Femi Otedola and Farouk Lawan. Well, barrister, apparently, from this conversation and, you know, from everything that happened in this case since 2012 up until when verdict was given, isn't it obvious that the lawmaker requested for this money as a way to exonerate the businessman? And in that regard, the businessman recorded the conversation and insisted for an open hearing as against a closed-door hearing that the lawmakers wanted to give. Does that still make him culpable to the crime of bribery?
It is 100%. It is 100% an indictment.
Is this a position of the law or a position of your thoughts?
It is the position of the law, yes, that both the bribe giver and the bribe taker are culpable.
Even when it's a bait?
No, this is not because I've asked you a question here. Is it true that Zenon Oil was indicted in the committee?
Well, apparently, from what we know, Zenon Oil was indicted. Zenon Oil's name was part of oil firms indicted in the oil subsidy scam.
They were indicted. Is that not true? That is a fact. Who is the chairman? Otedola. So, are you telling me that if Otedola really meant to be innocent as he claimed, he would have told him, I'm not giving any bribe, I'm not going to cooperate with you people, my company is innocent, I'm innocent, so you can do whatever you like. That is the position I wanted Otedola to take. Remember that Efcc used him to indict Lawan. Remember, all that Otedola did was at the behest of Efcc because they wanted to get at Lawan as a lawmaker. And because this man has a deep pocket, you know in Nigeria, big men don't go to jail, not to talk of a billionaire. That's what he's playing out here. Every other thing you are telling me is neither here nor there.
So you're saying that he used Mr. Lawan more like the conversation he dropped out was more like a bait for them to be able to determine if this lawmaker is to be trusted or not? Or are you still saying that the conversation, the recording, the giving of the bribe or the payment of the money and the videos or pictures or circulation actually makes him to be an accomplice?
Otedola played the first one on Nigerians. He wanted us to follow a narrative which he has created. By doing that thing now, people believe that he's innocent. But you and I know that that's not the truth. That is not the truth. He wanted Nigerians to believe that he's innocent, that this man is trying to collect money from him. I am telling you here that if Otedola is actually in or was actually innocent, he wouldn't have even gone as far as doing what he did. It's as simple as that. If they had told Lawan, I'm not cooperating with you people, whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it. It's as simple as that. That's how to prove your innocence.
Okay.
You go before the law and prove yourself. But because of what he did, every other person ignorantly believed that Otedola was innocent. That was why he was recording it and all that. But is it true that the Zenon was indicted? The answer is yes. So if your company is indicted, are you not making effort to exonerate yourself? Why are you not recording it? To prove your innocence? Because some people are behind you. We even know what went on between Otedola and the EFCC. Who even know? So when you are in the bad book of the people in authority, they can do everything to bring you down.
So don't you think also that that indictment you're talking about Zenon Oil now can also still be masterminded by some selected individuals who actually happen to be part of the committee to be able to pick out money from those that have deep pockets in Nigeria?
No, if it is true, then all of them would have come after Otedola.
Given the fact that a lawmaker was caught on record demanding bribe and even giving out phone number of the person that will pick up the money so that it will not be directed to him, and also thinking of what he's going to say to the committee when he's being asked about what happened to Senator.
Yes, you are taking me there now. Now that Lawan have served his time and come out, he's supposed to go to court and sue those who did this to him. Yes, because evidence is there. Evidence is there that Zenon Oil was indicted. So why do you now single out Lawan? Maybe all the committee members are supposed to share from the money. We don't know that for sure. You only know the person who has been indicted there, and that's Lawan. He's the chairman. Maybe you want to collect the money on behalf of other people. But now that he has gone to serve, with the information, with the evidence he has as the chairman, he should go to court. He should go to court and challenge his imprisonment. Let then Otedola come and prove that, yes, he never had anything to do with our oil, not to talk of the scam that followed it.
Barrister Darlington, Lawan happens to have been a member of a group called Integrity Group.
Yeah, Integrity Group. Yes, they want to rubbish his integrity. Yes, that's
the Integrity Group. But he wasn't alone. And what became of the Integrity Group after his jail?
When their chairman had gone to jail, the integrity is gone now. So the integrity went to jail with him.
Was it some kind of corruption, fighting back corruption? If you say that the EFCC was used to nail Farouk Lawan, exactly. And what is, beyond that, what role did the EFCC play?
Oh, God Almighty. Mr. Okoro, remember that there was something going on in the
Because after that, there was no further investigation on the Zenon Oil problem.
Good. Remember that something was going on. It was a political issue. Because of that thing you mentioned, I wanted us to go there gradually. Now, the integrity could come out as a result of what? There was a political permutation going on in the house that time. And these people came out to prove that they are holier than Pope. Are you getting it? They wanted to prove that they are holier than Pope. And that was why these integrity people were set up through Lawan. You can see now. So they wanted to prove that there was no integrity here. It's as simple as that. With what happened, They wanted to prove that there was no integrity. All this was a setup. What I'm saying is that
the permutations you spoke about, can you be a lot more specific?
Who was the president in office that time?
Barrister, answer the questions, please.
No, I want to know. Maybe I forgot to know. You know, I forget something at times.
Barrister.
Are you laughing?
Go ahead.
In 2012, who was the president in office that time? These are part of the thing that was being, done to undermine President Jonathan's presidency. When the integrity group came out and we are talking and behaving as if they want to they wanted to undermine President Jonathan. That's why they came up now. If you look at the name integrity group, where is integrity? All of them were ganging up against Jonathan at that time. That's where this thing came up. Then I said, okay, no problem. Oh yeah, you become the chairman of the committee since you are claiming integrity. You see where they gave him debate.
Barrister, from
it's like giving Judas the money to keep
Barrister,
for the apostles.
If I understand you clearly, you're saying that even Jonathan is culpable in all of this because if an integrity group was formed to basically to undermine his administration and the chairman of that committee was found corrupt and sentenced to jail, and you're also saying it was also a way to get back to prove that those that claim to have integrity don't have integrity, then should we be pointing out the president himself?
No. Was it the Jonathan that appointed Lawan as the chairman of the committee? Was it Jonathan? There was a head at the National Assembly, the Senate. Is that not true? The man appointed him to, because of what they claim to be. That is the issue here. You claim to be misintegrity, just like the former president of this country. And then under your word, look at what went on. But what I'm saying here is not even about Lawan. It's about, was Xenon Oil indicted? If the oil company was indicted, why is it that they were not taken in like every other person now? That's my question here. Let Otedola come and tell me that
Xenon Oil no longer exists.
That was okay, fine. And that was one of the reasons why they now made what? They now what? Dissolved that company. Because of this type of thing. Maybe you people don't even know what is going on here. So if you are not going to indict the oil company, which oil company that has been swallowed by another company or what? You can see now. Is that not what they have been doing all along? When they want to confuse you, when their company has been indicted, they shift it to another company and say the company no longer exists. Can't you get it? Is that not what is going on? Let Otedola come and tell me that he never had anything to do with the oil subsidy that time.
All right.
I will stop talking on air.
But Mr. Darlington, talking about oil subsidy and the role of the anti-graft agency, let's move away a bit from the Lawan and the Otedola saga and concentrate a bit on the EFCC. Last week, Olisa Abakoba, senior advocate of Nigeria, came out to say that the EFCC is unconstitutional.
This is a fact.
And before he did that, 16 governors had gone to court. 19, but 3.
But there are some 5 have withdrawn or so.
Yes.
Okay.
And said that, look, that the EFCC should be a federal agency and should not apply to state governments. What is happening? In the first place, do you agree with Olisa Abakoba?
No.
And on the second leg of it, do you think that, what are the governors trying to hide? Since I think it's only Kano State that has an state corruption agency, the one that is trying Ganduje and all of that. What are they up to?
In the first place, every crime is local. That is where jurisdiction comes in. You cannot commit a crime in Lagos here and they will try you in Abuja. That is where the prosecution will fail. Because when it comes to jurisdiction and they look at it and say, no, it's not our matter. Go to where this thing was done. That is one. Then 2, if you want to solve a problem, the Machiavelli said the means justify the end justify the means. If you want to solve a problem, my dear, you don't always want to do protocol. I told you the history of EFCC here. Obasanjo wanted to get the ear of the foreign creditors, World Bank and all of them, when he came into office. And they told him, look, we'll write up this day, but what is the guarantee that this day will not be piled up again? Can you give us a guarantee? Can you set up a body that will checkmate this corruption? Because they saw that most of this corruption is coming from government officials. That was how Obasanjo coupled EFCC. granted that procedure or protocol was not followed, because it was, if you have to go through that route, the state governors will not allow their state assembly to approve, because you need to third. You are getting that where Abakoba is coming from. They need to third of the state government assembly and that of National Assembly for you to approve such a body. Because it's becoming national now. It's no longer state affair. Obasanjo did not follow that route because of the haste involved. He wanted something done. Even the body that is supposed to oversee EFCC, 22-man board, I told you here, they have never sat for one day. You know why? That board cannot sit. Because somebody like IG is in that board. The Minister of Finance in that board. What is it called? CBN governor on that board. And so many other top. And now you appointed a junior officer of the police like a Rubado and other to head EFCC. Now tell me, how can you come for a board meeting where all these, all these big men are sitting? Then one EFCC man will be presiding over his own IG. Can you see now? So that will tell you that some of the things that was supposed to be done was not done. And that is because of the haste. My worry here, since you know that this, what have we done since that time? Since 2003 to correct the anomaly? Because 2003, then 2004, it was inaugurated. So what have you done, successive government? Because that is what somebody, one smart lawyer or one smart attorney general must have told the governor. The governor told the governor. The other one told the governor. And that is where this thing came up. You can see now. They are now looking at the legality of the body, not even the functionality and the need for that body. You can see. It is when it comes to matters that have to do with government and all that, they're now looking at legality. But the question is, was it set up with good conscience to save Nigeria from the level of corruption that was going on before Obasanjo came in? The answer is yes. Protocol here is what everybody is talking about. That protocol was not followed, procedure was not followed. But if you want to follow protocol on everything you are doing, when they are stealing money, my brother, do they follow protocol? You can see. When these people are stealing money, remember it started from Kogi, and you know what is going on with Kogi and the EFCC. When they were stealing Nigerian money, do they follow protocol? Now they want the EFCC and the government to follow protocol. You
just said something about EFCC and its functionality. Barrister Darlington, since this EFCC was inaugurated in 2004 until now, how can you judge, or what can you score, their functions and all they must have achieved from that point in time to this particular time? Can you say they are good in what they are doing?
Yeah, if you want me to score EFCC, I can give them 5 over 10. That's all.
What influences the score you give to them?
Sorry?
What happened to be the influence?
Because initially they were doing well. Initially, you would prefer to settle your matter with anybody that you are owing or you have taken his money than for you to go to EFCC. Initially, when Rubado was there, the fear of EFCC was the beginning of wisdom. You dare not. But over the years, these same politicians, these same governors and their make, even the president, the successive president that came after Obasanjo, they watered their activities down. They made it look as if EFCC does not even exist. And that's where the problem started. We raised the alarm that time that, look, if this selective prosecution continue, EFCC will just die a natural death. They should make it compulsory. Imagine a Rubado taking Tafa Balogu, his own IGP, taking him to court, even threw him on the ground, and the car was almost dragging him. IGP, Tafa Balogu. That was when people said that, yes, EFCC was serious. That was when people begin to fear EFCC. But after that, when they saw what everybody did and all that, all these guys, they gang up against him. They gang up against him to make sure that he leaves that place. Because they know that if this man can do this to his own organ, that means he will just eat all of them raw when he catch them. That was what happened. Unfortunately, most people did not see it.
But Mr. Darlington, I don't you think that 5 is a high score, considering the fact that the only helmsman of the EFCC that has left without some kind of controversy surrounding bribery allegation or what is Nuhu Ribadu. the woman that succeeded her, what's her name?
Farida.
Farida, Lamode, Bawa, all of them have been immersed in one kind of financial misappropriation or what?
No.
The other time in Sokoto State, I mean, there was a shootout between two operatives of the EFCC. And what was the issue? The issue was who would keep custody of something that was recovered from a Yahoo boy. And in the process, somebody got killed.
Yeah.
So will you still, under these considerations, will you still score the EFCC 5?
No.
And considering the fact that the only thing they have done is to arrest and prosecute small offenders, people that steal phone, people that steal yam and plates of food and all of that. Meanwhile, the big thieves are busy parading the corridors of power.
My brother, it would have been worse without EFCC. You said Rubad. No, Rubad left in a controversial circumstances. Remember, he was taken to one course where he was
Judging.
Where he was pulled out by force.
No, but there was no allegation of corruption against him.
There was. It's just that, no, there was. It's just that it was not proven. There was. Well, that was part of the reason now. People wrote petition against him of what he did in office.
Was it corruption fighting back?
No, it's not. What I'm telling you is that that's why we are telling you that when Chinua Achebe wrote a book that leadership, everything rise and fall under a leadership, nothing else. If the leadership of Nigeria had maintained the tempo after Rubadu, things wouldn't have. Remember, and Obasanjo promised Farida, what's her name? The woman. Farida, that her days are numbered at EFCC. Remember, she had an altercation with Obasanjo. And the woman threatened that she will expose Obasanjo. Remember, some people went to her and told her the day she will leave office. And that was the day she left.
Farida Waziri.
Yeah, Waziri, yes. They threatened her in office. Remember. So, you can see that the leader, they didn't have, it was Jonathan because he was trying to be politically correct to favor his political friends and all that. They saw him as someone who cannot stand on his ground and say, no, I can't do this. That they took advantage of Jonathan. It was under him that this thing started to go down. After Farid, then you can see that things started to go down. All of them left EFCC as chairman in a controversial circumstances. None of them. They are all tainted with corruption. Go and check. All of them.
So, considering, will you still score them 5/10?
The 5/10 is because they're existing. That's all. They're existing at least. The fear that somebody is there, that when you take a matter there, it will be investigated at least.
Barrister, there's another conversation around...
and then the success they have recorded so far. Remember, they are recorded some successes. So
some successes,
some people, yes. They brought people in. There have been people who are jailed, governors who are jailed under EFCC.
Okay.
Yes,
and now the administration, the executive brought them out. So is that the fault of EFCC?
Barrister?
Yes.
Now, the conversation around EFCC being used by the federal I beg your pardon, being used by the federal to terrorize state governors that are not in good books of the federal. How do you react to that conversation?
Because, yes, they are...
In that regard, should the EFCC be allowed to hold sway?
You see, you cannot blame EFCC in all these matters, because under, Magu, when he was appointed by Buhari, he requested 103 files containing high-profile cases that the Attorney General at that time was sitting on. That was where Magu fell out with the Attorney General. He sat on it until he left office. 103 high-profile cases. Buhari knew what Magu was fighting. That's why he did not, he did not sack him when the National Assembly, the Senate refused to confirm his appointment. But then, this body, are they acting on their own? The answer is no. If they were not induced, if they were not given orders from above, they would have done very well. They would have done very well. That's what I'm saying. They would have done very well. The intention is there, The will is there for EFCC to perform, but the executive is always breathing down their neck.
But, Barrister Darlington, Ibrahim Magu once again said something about how the courts have been, standing on their way of prosecution or even getting to the big wigs who are found guilty of corrupt practices in one way or the other? Are you not still blaming it or leaving it solely on the decks of the executive? What happened to the judiciary?
Good. Let me tell you a story. Maybe it will help you to understand. When they wanted Lawan to become Senate president, Egoje was already penciled out, both in seniority and everything. I think Egoje was the governor
governor of one of the Northern
Yes. States. He was the one. In fact, it is a given. But what happened? They knew that Egoje will be his own man. He will not cooperate with Buhari. What did the Aerofy do? He went to discuss with what's his name? With Buhari and Pronto. They took. Meanwhile, Goje was having an issue with Efcc, $25 billion naira, when he was the governor of that state. Immediately,
Governor of Gombe State.
Good. They now took Goje to Buhari and said, "You can see now, you have an issue here. Do you want to drop your ambition to become Senate president, or do you want to face EFCC? We are ready to drop all the charges against you so that you allow Lawan to become Senate president." I said, "Okay, no problem." Because you know that if he refuses, he will definitely go to jail. That was it. So when EFCC, remember this was going behind EFCC, they are not aware of what was going on at the executive level. EFCC went to court the day the matter was to be had with Goje. When they came there and stood up, the judge now asked them, "Which case did you say you people came for? I didn't see any." They now mentioned Goje and they said, "Are you not aware that your Attorney General have withdrawn the case?" Your Attorney General have withdrawn the case, so what do you want me to do? EFCC sighed and left the court.
Barrister, that brings me to another question. Should the EFCC be under the office of the Attorney General of the Federation?
It cannot be.
To assert its independence.
Yes. Even at that, they won't allow them to be independent. I just told you now that 103 high-profile cases, I don't know where the man left the case, whether he ran away with. You know, he's in exile now. He has left this country. The same Attorney General. He has left this country. Maybe he carried the file away. I am telling you that the executive, Moses, the day we have a leader, a president of this country who will stand on his feet and say, "This thing must stop." Oh my God, you see the difference.
In light of this, what would you say should be the way forward if Nigeria wants to fight corruption? Because it's, with everything we see going on, it seems like corruption is embedded in Nigeria, especially at the corridors of power, and almost nothing can make it stop.
No, something can be done if you have a leader with the political will. Yar'Adua gave an idea. He showed the light when he came into office. For a man to condemn his own election, that means that man is very truthful. I'm telling you. Okay. I don't know why that man died. He would have done so much to clean up this mess.
So what can be done?
What can be done is that you Nigerians, elect a leader who will save you. That's all. We're in a democracy. There's no other way.
I want to put you on the spot now. I want to put you on the spot.
No problem.
Within the political class now, seeing how things have been going, if you were to recommend one person to run for office that you think would be, devoid of corruption allegations, who would that person be? To run for office.
Yes.
One person to run for office. It may not be somebody who is in the political space already.
Exactly. Moses, we have a lot of them all over Nigeria. But do you know the problem? Nigerians in their ignorance, they will not elect such a person.
Barrister, can you run for office?
Oh my God. If they give me just 24 hours.
Are you not corrupt?
In what way? Have I held office before?
Okay, so it takes you holding office to be...
Of course. Have I done any contract or any business with anybody before? I mean, if you are now, you will not be doing this thing that we are doing. Somebody would have spit on you now. You know. The worst place you can lie is on media, either radio or television. The moment you come out, even your co-whatever, they will spill on you. They will write report and say things about you. So there are many of them all over the place. It's just that the Nigerian mentality will not allow them to see clearly. It is only when we have entered into a very deep water we begin to cry for help. Let me give you an example. There was a governor in Anambra who did not perform throughout his term. Schools were closed in Anambra for 2 years because some mafia in Anambra, the Oba brother, were holding him by the jugular. Whenever he collects allocation from Abuja, they will come to the table and share it. And so the man was rendered impotent in office. When the man left office, they continued with another man called Ngige after Mbadunuju. This thing we are going on in Anambra until that phase, was over through court decision. They now said another person should come in, which happened to be P2B. My brother, is that not the record of P2B in Anambra that is selling him all over the world today? Is that not what he performed in Anambra that is his own selling point today?
All right, then.
So you can see, it can be done.
Really hoping that you mentioned somebody
Good.
who Nigerians know who is not a politician, because as far as a lot of Nigerians are concerned, all politicians are the same.
It cannot be, because we cannot say because all the everybody is now corrupt according to Nigerian mentality. Therefore, we don't have somebody in Nigeria who can deliver us.
Okay.
There are many. There are so many.
Okay.
And Barrister, we are talking about Nigeria, and we're voice of the people, and we need to bring it back again to the table of discussion where we started before we get to Efcc and that is about how Lawal Farouk has been freed. He's no longer in jail, and this is happening after $500,000. And I want to ask you, in Nigeria for some time we've been seeing the big wigs. You steal billions of money, and then it's either you go for plea bargain, or you go for 2 years or whatever, and then they will grant you executive bail and you come out. Is that a way to go to fight corruption? What happened to the money that they steal or the money that they're being accused of taking? What happened? Can you just help us out? Let's talk about this, because some Nigerians are saying that the jail term of 5 years for Lawal Farouk for the crime he committed is not enough. Whereas a man that just did something else might have like 10 years. Some are waiting trials for over 12, 15, 16 years. But some people, they have expedited justice on their own case.
My dear, there are so many things wrong with our laws. That's why this amendment comes up almost every year. They are amending our constitution. Some people will prefer to be tried under the penal code when it is a criminal offense. And the penal code is very soft on offenders over there in the north. So they will prefer to be tried there. But that's not the issue. Under the Efcc Act, which is guiding their activities.
Efcc Act of 2002.
Good. All these things are spelled out on how they should go about whatever they are doing. But sentencing is at the discretion of the court. You can see now, even to give you bail is at the discretion of the court. You cannot determine for the court what to do, how many years to give you or not, except where it is statutorily stated. But when it comes to this political, how much you ate, they say, okay, because you ate 100 billion, therefore your jail time should be 100 years in office. It doesn't work that way under our laws. It doesn't. All these things are the discretion of the court. That is where the problem comes. So if you are in the good book or the judge sees you, maybe he has a soft spot for you and all that, you can say, okay, no problem. At least you are going to jail.
So where does
the problem now is that the people they manage to put in jail, like those Jolly Yam and all that Buhari brought out from jail and even gave national honor. What was the reason for that? Is that the fault of the EFCC? I told you here that if EFCC are allowed to do their work, my dear, even governors will be afraid of them.
All right.
Let me tell you what happened about EFCC. When Obasanjo was trying to, put that thing together, he was shopping for a madman, according to him, who will head the place. A no-nonsense man. So, somebody like Idiagbo was invited. He was the first person that was invited. And Obasanjo and the other, they interviewed the man, and when they picked his brain and discovered that this man, with what he's saying and all that, he can even arrest a president. That was why nobody looked inside again. I'm telling you. The only thing The only thing they can remember Idiagbo for was to use his name as the Idiagbo House, that EFCC house in Abuja. Ask yourself why. He was never their chairman. He was never a staff. But they use his name as Idiagbo House. That is where EFCC headquarters is in Abuja. That means they knew that this man was the EFCC chairman that never was. You can see. The EFCC chairman that never was. And Idiagbo wouldn't have taken nonsense from anybody. And up to today, we have an Idiagbo, you know, but nobody will look at their way. You see, nobody. They will never look their way because they have already committed or they are intending to commit. So they don't want somebody who will come and be harassing them.
But is that the way forward? Is
It
that how
cannot be. It
democracy
cannot be.
is being championed?
It cannot be.
You know why I'm asking this is the fact that we have people that come out to protest in Nigeria. Young Nigerian youths that protested 4 years ago about police brutality, chanting hashtag, #EndSARS. And some of them were killed at Lekki Toll Gate. Some of them were arrested. And up until now, this present administration come up on the mantra that they want to fight corruption. The previous one, APC, come up with change, renewed hope agenda. No one has been held responsible for the killings of Nigerian youth at that Lekki Toll Gate, Barrister Darlington.
They won't now because this will happen under APC administration. Do you want them to indict themselves?
All right.
It's not possible now.
Barrister.
It is left for you. It is Nigerians. They say power belongs to the people. If you have thrown away your right, then what do you want me to do? It is Nigerians. All these things are saying, Nigerians, are you not supposed to say, this thing they are saying, it concerns me.
Barrister,
not my tribe.
Farouk Lawan has served his term 5 years and he's out. I mean, he was given 5 years. Some are arguing that it's not up to, but whatever the case may be, he has served
he was a
his
good
term.
boy in prison, so he can be let off the hook.
He has served his term and he's out. And he said it's a new chapter for him. Do you think he can contest elections again? Maybe get back into the National Assembly?
Maybe after 10 years. After 10 years, he can bounce back. That's what the law says. After 10 years, because if you try it now, people will go to court against him. If you try it now, because this one has been officially confirmed, if you try it now, he won't even dare. He can't talk of any official appointment until after 10 years. So that's what I...
Barrister Darlington, do you think that Lawan will seek for justice if he feels that he was duly...
Yes.
Especially since the other case didn't proceed.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if he really want to, except for political reasons, so he may not want to go through that route. That's what I'm saying. Yes, because if you want to go into that matter now, a lot of feathers will be ruffled.
All right then.
And they may advise him, no, for your political future, don't go, don't. Apart from that, he has a very good case because somebody gave him bribe. How come it's only him that went to jail?
All right, then, this will be, let's anchor this conversation here and then move on to another conversation now. The former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, has said Nigeria has disappointed the black race, Africa, and the world at large. More so, he disappointed the world by not taking its place as the giant of Africa. We'll look into that conversation. And we'll also be looking at the conversation around the minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, who has said that beggars should vacate the streets of Abuja or face arrest. He actually did say family members of beggars should ensure that they vacate the streets of Abuja or have their family members arrested, those begging arrested. Let's talk about this one when we come back from this break.
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has expressed this concern over the country's lack of unity, which he believes has hindered its progress and potential as a leading force for the black race. He attributes this disunity to regionalism, which emerged before Nigeria's independence in 1960, and emphasized the need to focus on merit, capacity, and ability in appointing leaders rather than regional backgrounds. Obasanjo stressed that Nigeria's diversity should be its strength, not weakness, and urged the nation to unite for progress. He noted that the country has missed opportunities and disappointed itself, the black race, Africa, and the world at large. However, he remains optimistic about Nigeria's future, emphasizing the importance of correcting past mistakes and working for the national interest. In another news, the Federal Capital Territory Administration has issued a warning to roadside beggars to vacate the streets by October 27, 2024, or risk arrest. Minister Nyesom Wike cited the alarming number of beggars as a security threat to the metropolis. We still have in the studio Barrister Darlington Agomo, who is also a political analyst and VOP in-house analyst. Barrister Darlington, thanks for staying with us.
Thank you, Mr. Govt.
You heard Obasanjo loud and clear. Nigeria has disappointed itself, disappointed Africa, and disappointed the black race and the world at large. Barrister Darlington, should Obasanjo be the one saying this, considering that he was head of state between 1976 and 1999, and between 1999 and 2007? Did he leave any foundation? Did he leave building blocks for Nigeria's greatness? Can you help us do some kind of surgery on Obasanjo as a person, and how should he have the moral ground to say this?
Thank you, my brother. You see, these are the reasons why I keep telling you that we have a problem, and that problem is from leadership. Seriously. All these things that Obasanjo is saying now, are you telling me that when he was in power, he was not aware? But he was driven by selfish interests. He forgot that tomorrow will come, and that tomorrow has come now. Look at him singing a different tune.
Selfish interest?
Yes, selfish interest. When he started to put a panel, we thought that, yeah, this man is, he wants to reconcile with the country and all that. How did he end up? Put a panel. It was when the third-term agenda came in that thing ended in fiasco. That means Abunisho, that was the agenda. That was the agenda. You spent 8 years, nothing, apart from cancelling our debts. That was one singular thing that anybody can say, yes, Obasanjo started and ended on his own.
He rolled out telecoms.
No, he started from somebody.
No, but he was the one that rolled it out. Barrister, we have gone through this route before.
Yeah, we started from somebody now. He wasn't the one. He started from Abacha. You and I know that. He started from Abacha.
What if Obasanjo had stalled it?
He couldn't.
Anyway, let's
it
not
was not possible.
Let's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hold on, please. Let us say this. Whenever you think that they are doing anything good, it's not for you. It's for their own. At that time, they were not making any call anywhere. All national trunk are busy. All national trunk are busy. Even Abacha started. That's why I told you that Abacha started this. If you read the story very well, his email was hijacked at the airport road here. Abacha's email, letter. So at that time, communication was becoming all this was becoming obsolete.
Barrister, they had access, they had money, they had access to terrestrial devices like Turaya and all of that.
It is not possible because you need a backbone. You can't do it on your own. You cannot set up a telecommunication in your house on your own and begin to call America and UK. It's not possible. You need a backbone, internet backbone, facility, just like the telecom. Go and look at all the factors they put in place for them to communicate. You cannot do it on your own.
Barrister.
You need an infrastructure.
Barrister.
Yes.
With the words of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, this is not the first time that he's saying things like this, that Nigeria has failed, Nigeria has not held its place in Africa, Nigeria has disappointed the world. He has said this, over time, repeatedly. Why would you think this statement is coming from him, especially one who has held office? Is it because he wants a particular, he cannot run for office again. Is it because he wants to install somebody and he hasn't been able to do so? Or are there things that he would like done that is not being done? Or is he not preferring advice, or are they not taking his advice? because he is an elder statesman.
Obasanjo is trying to reinvent himself. He had realized his mistakes in office. Instead of him to come out, he's now trying to shift the blame to some. Look at what he's saying. Nigeria has failed. He did not even say leaders has failed like him. He didn't say so. He said Nigeria has failed. But he hated that Nigeria.
Well, in the Committee of Nations.
Sorry?
In the Committee of Nations, Nigeria is not holding its place as a supposed giant of Africa.
Whose fault? Is it the people or the leaders? That's the question. If Obasanjo truly mean what he was saying, he should have laid the foundation just like Mandela did. He should have laid the foundation just like Julius Nyerere did. That's why their names are there in the AU building. Mention one Nigerian leader that is named in that AU building. They don't have a name there. And you are giant of Africa. Mo Ibrahim award for leadership in Africa. No Nigerian leader have gotten it. Yet Obasanjo is talking. You see?
Mr. Darlington, Obasanjo blamed regionalism, which the country practiced before 1960 independence, to be the reason for us to have this prolonged lack of cohesion. Do you also share that line of thought?
It's a lie. Rather, regionalism brought unity and development in Nigeria. The real problem of Nigeria today is that baboon is working and monkey is chopping. That's the problem of Nigeria. That's why resource control became an issue under him. Baboon is working, monkey they chop. That is the problem of Nigeria till tomorrow. And the people that are benefiting from these imbalances are enjoying it. That's why they don't want you to talk about it.
No, he said that.
Meanwhile, you are a federation, though, just like America. You are a federation. You can see now. Dysfunctional federalism, that's what we are practicing.
But Obasanjo said something. He said that during the time of independence, the regionalism played a part whereby we have Nigerians, or we have three people, three regions, three tribes coming up to form a country called Nigeria. And that is why we're having these issues we're having. Because he said, yes, we have the Ipob, the Hausa, and the Yorubas forming a nation. And that is what is having to be the issue we're having in this country.
How is that
tribalism and, religious issues and all that.
How can he blame his own mistakes for what is going on?
But that is what is still playing out upon him.
Because he failed to correct it. Why didn't he correct it? Since he knows the problem. He was in office. In fact, Obasanjo had ruled Nigeria more than any other person. From 1976 to 1979, 3 years. From 1999 to 2007, how many years? 8 years. 3 plus 8, 11 years. No other leader in Nigeria have ruled Nigeria for that long period. So what did he do with all those years that he come now to preach morals to me?
But Nigerians have been talking about the ethnicity, the crisis it's been causing. The religious also are having their own issues. Now, don't you think that this regionalism that we practiced before this particular time is what is still sending us far apart?
No,
Igbos and Hausas and Yorubas are always there, loggerhead and all that.
No, as a multi-ethnic group, there is no other way to go except regional governance. Not like you. Where you copy this, remember that was the reason why Nigerians went to US to copy their style of democracy. They studied all these things.
Yes, Barrister Darlington, this democracy and this presidential system of government, there's something I want us to touch on. Obasanjo, people have vilified Obasanjo for asking for a third term. Now, I want to ask, is 8 years enough for someone to make impact?
Oh my God.
Now, Barrister Darlington, I say that in light of the fact that if India is making progress under Narendra Modi, this is his 12th year in office.
Yes.
Angela Merkel took 16 years to build whatever that Germany is when he took over from Helmut Kohl, who also spent 16 years. We had Lee Kuan Yew spend 31 years in office to move Singapore from a third world country, backward down country, to one of the best places, not just in South Asia, but in the world. Is 8 years enough for someone to make impact?
Good. Mr. Okoro, you have forgotten that under democracy, you don't run a government on your own if you become the president. You run it as a party man. The members of your party come together to put you there. Now, it is your success in office that will determine whether the people will continue with your party or not.
PDP did 16 years.
That's what I'm saying. You can see now. They use propaganda to remove them now because they believe that the PDP was the devil.
Were they doing well? If they were doing well, why were they removed?
You can see the comparison now. Whether they are doing well or not, I don't need to talk. Compare it now.
No, Barrister, I want you to look at the instances I've cited.
Yeah, the instances you have cited, we cannot go back to a dictatorial regime. We cannot dictatorial regime. That's what you are trying to advocate, and that's the military.
How? No, not military. I cited Germany, I cited India, I cited Singapore.
Those people that were in office, they were in office as a Democrat. Is that not true? At least they were elected, they were re-elected, they were re-elected. Fine. Do you have such
My question is 8 years enough? Shouldn't we have like 6 year, 2 terms? Like some people are proposing. Some people are even proposing 6 year term.
Do you know why people cried when Moritala died? He was there for 6 months. Is that not true? When everybody, every part of the country, some were singing songs, musicians were recording with his name. What he did in 6 months.
People cried when Buhari was overthrown. And Idiabo. Because they were following a certain trajectory.
No. Hold on. There are two cries, please. There is cry of joy and there is cry of what? The other one. When Moritala died, because of what he did in office, because of what Nigerians enjoyed under his watch for that 6 months, my dear, it was very obvious. People condemned the Dimka, and that was why their coup failed. Are you getting what I'm saying? This one you are comparing notes now. Look at it yourself. Why should people not people were jubilating when they left office now? When they were overthrown, people were jubilating.
But people missed Idiabo. People missed Idiabo.
Because he was fighting corruption. It was the engine, it was the power behind the throne.
Right. Are we saying the same thing? Are we not saying the same thing?
We are not saying the same thing because they are two different things. The hardship then was not actually to punish Nigeria. It was to make Nigeria better.
All right.
And you saw it. You saw the difference. They were telling us our income and our, what much we are paying every month and all that. So you can't compare those things. It's incomparable with what is going on today. What I'm saying now is that Obasanjo is not the right kind. He wants us to know that he's a patriot. He's the national hero and all that.
So
whether we like it or not, he served the country at the time that he did, and just like everybody else, he introduced a few things that have made Nigeria what it is today, good or bad. But let's move forward now. I would like to.
Anything he did that was not sustainable, is null and void.
Okay.
If you do something that is sustainable today, my dear, nobody can come and change it. Look at the ATM, look at the TSA, since APC come into office, have they changed it? Because they know that they have nothing to add to it.
Okay. Barrister, I would like us to focus on, pick out areas things that we should do first that will ensure that Nigeria regains its place, its place of pride in Africa and then the world at large.
Leadership.
Leadership, okay.
Yeah. We want to elect a leadership that will serve Nigerians, that will reinvent the past glory of Nigeria.
But we see that leadership, the election of it, it's not as if, is it that Nigerians don't come out to vote or when they do, their votes don't count? How can we fix that problem?
Yeah, there are two problems here because during the registration for voters, you will see 90 million. And then during accreditation, you may see 40 million. But on the day of voting, you may see just 20 million. That is it. The question is why?
Apathy?
Yes. And then two, intimidation. Nobody likes violence, so nobody wants to die because he wants to go and vote. If there is a free and fair atmosphere for people to come, they will come out en masse. They will come out. So when during voting period, some people will be mobilized to threaten and harass some people. People will quietly stay in their house because they know that when they die, nobody will remember them. So for this reason, people are always playing safe during the election.
If you were to advise, what would you be advising authorities in terms of ensuring that the voters are secure to cast their votes on the day of election?
It is left for the leaders to decide, especially the president in office.
No, if you were to give advice.
Sorry? If I were to give advice?
Yes.
Yes, I would tell the leader, look, if you truly mean what you are saying, that you want to give free and fair election, remove the military, remove the police. remove your talk, because those talk cannot mess up if nobody told them. No political talk will come to any polling unit and mess up if nobody induce him or her. That is certain.
So you don't think the volatility of Nigeria does not require the police being around when elections are being
it doesn't. What is volatility here? The volatility I just told you here. If those people, if political parties do not rein in their talks, then why are you blaming whatever? The volatility is caused by somebody now. Like, for example, what happened in Lagos during the presidential election? You saw what happened.
Okay.
People came out to vote, and that was why Tinubu lost Lagos. Okay. It was during the governorship, when they saw what was going on. At 11 o'clock, it was going on peacefully, until they saw that the thing was not going their way. That was when all these talk were unleashed on people. Is that not what happened?
And that
is that not a very good example?
To my question of ethnic bigotry. Now, again to you, Barrister Darlington.
It's selfish interest.
In the west of Obasanjo says that the reason that Nigeria is divided and Nigeria is kind of maybe making the black race now lose its face in the world is the fact that we are capitalizing on the three major tribes of Nigeria, and we are working with that, and that is why we cannot go anywhere. Now, do you think that with the ethnic issues we're having in Nigeria, we're going to have a free and fair election? Remember, everybody is, okay, the Hausas are there, the Igbos are there, the Yorubas are there, and some people are making it look like the leadership of the country is more like their birthright. Remember what caused agitation and secession issues in Nigeria?
You see, what Obasanjo said, I was expecting him to profile solution. He has not. He just realized the problem every time he wake up and talk. An attorney general died under his watch. Up to today, he couldn't find out who killed him. A man left your house. He said he want to go and prepare to contest election against you. He left for Abuja for his house. He did not sleep inside that night. The 4 security details that we are supposed to be guarding Bola Ige, all of them went to go and eat at the same time. And they said that order came from above. Please, there are people who are not supposed to listen to, please. Let us leave that to Obasanjo matter. Let him go with his conscience. The wife, Moji, before she died, she wrote a book. She said when Obasanjo was elected as Nigerian president, she was crying because we didn't know who we elected. The own daughter, his own daughter, the first daughter of the first child of Obasanjo, disowned him. I have the article she wrote, which was published in the Vanguard. I have it. See, that time, from that time till now, have you seen Obasanjo and his children together, especially the first son and the first daughter? Please, have you seen any of them? Are you not aware of such a development? The son's marriage, how did it end? Who caused the end of their marriage? Please, Nigeria, we celebrate people we should not celebrate. Meanwhile, in the Western world, these are the things that will even take you to jail. Come out every time you be preaching moral to me. He is not the person to do it. That's why people know better outside here. Obasanjo can deceive everybody, not me. He is not what he's preaching. He is not. We all know what he did in office. Is he controlling his own the family? Is he in charge? I don't give you examples here. So let him start from there. Let him start from before you tell me what to do.
Can you name any Nigerian president that has done better than Olusegun Obasanjo? And can we have the reasons why you think so?
Oh, thank you. Jonathan, President Goodluck Jonathan.
What did he do?
Good. He protected our human rights. Under his watch, no protester was sent to jail or labeled treasonable felon and all that. Let somebody challenge me. Under Jonathan's watch, he said that his re-election is not worth the blood of one single Nigerian. And he maintained it. Mr. Okoro, he maintained it. Is that not the way to go? Under Jonathan's watch, the economy was booming. We still remember his regime with nostalgia. Tell me. Until propaganda came in.
You just said that government is a continuum. The gains made during
Jonathan. Good.
Weren't the foundations laid during Obasanjo regime?
He said what?
Yes, the foundations, were they not laid during the Obasanjo regime?
That's what I said. Since they said all those people, I'm telling you the man who performed now, you are asking me
so shouldn't we give Obasanjo some level of credit?
Jonathan never wanted any second term or third term and started doing any shenanigans.
No, he wanted a second term.
He wanted now, but he did not go as far as Obasanjo went now.
Barrister Darlington, shouldn't we give Obasanjo some level of credit for even building a foundation upon which Yar'Adua and Jonathan now put the building blocks?
I just told you, Obasanjo was a child of circumstance. He came in when the military when Nigeria got tired of the military. He came in and he just took advantage of that position. And that was why he was traveled all over the world to write off our debt.
Over 100. How much will you score him?
Sorry?
Over 100.
You mean Obasanjo?
On a scale of 100.
In fact, if you asked me this question immediately he left office, I would have given him 80%.
But now,
but since he left office, he has. If I had not done something, I would say, okay, you have done so well. I'm giving him just 20% of.
All right. Okay then, Barrister Darlington, thank you very much for your thoughts. This is not personal against the former president of Nigeria. We're just trying to, look at the statements made and prefer a solution to the problems bedeviling Nigeria. Well, thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you, Moses.
All right, and we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Full of vigor and penchant from the views on the streets
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city. The loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's Lord.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people.
So let's not waste. All right then. So yes. Well, that's the show for today, really. But talking about things to move Nigeria forward. Yes, we talked about elections, leadership. Nigeria should. It's one way to go to get the leadership aspect sorted, and also economy. Nigeria should diversify. Not be dependent on oil. That's another way to ensure that Nigeria, rakes a lot of. I mean, if Nigeria starts to do other things, agriculture, for example, if we can handle insecurity, sort out the issue of agricultural production, Africa will benefit, don't you think?
Moses, we have always said it. I have always said it on this table. We have three things hold the key to our progress as a people. Fix insecurity.
Most definitely.
It's
number one. It's number one.
Fix insecurity, fix power, and what again? On top of my head, I can't remember. But these three things, if you fix power, if you fix insecurity, naturally, there will be peace in the land. Then agriculture. Agriculture is the third thing. Because we have so much arable land. In this vast land of arable, cultivatable, we are blessed with mineral resources. Moses, we have the shoreline, a coastline that runs into thousands of nautical miles from Lagos to the other side, to the Equatorial Guinea end of it. What about blue economy?
Blue economy.
These are
what
things
about tourism?
Tourism.
We have, if we can develop, we have a lot of.
Moses, we have the best brains that the black race
But they
can
function
pride
out of the
itself
country.
in.
They function out of the country.
Outside the country.
Outside the country,
The
unfortunately.
brain drain, because Nigerians represent the most educated diaspora community in the US, Canada, and even in the UK.
Exactly.
And in parts of Europe. But we can't fix our country here. Take off point is power, fix insecurity, fix power, then we'll get the agricultural way. Since I was born, since I started learning, that word diversify has never, there is no textbook, there is no notebook I have. That if, sometimes it found its way in chemistry and biology notebooks. Diversify. And up until this moment, we can't get a handle on that word, diversify. Why? It's a problem of leadership.
Corruption.
Problem of leadership.
Corruption. That's where I actually pen it. And that is why every Nigerian leader or some of the Nigerian leaders will still come up to tell you that there are loopholes in our constitution. And even as it was being amended in 1999, those loopholes, they know they were there. They weren't able to cover them because they want it to be the way it is so that it can actually favor them. I can't see the reason why a former lawmaker of this country will be, sentenced to just 5 years imprisonment.
No, if he was, I mean...
On a 3-count charge.
Well, 3-count charge.
Charge.
Well, I would not want to dwell...
$5,000.
I would not want to dwell on that because he had his day in court. In his opinion, I mean, when he was trying to defend himself, he said he was trying to set up Otedola. That was why he asked for, the money. Otedola, on the other hand, had gone to meet the EFCC and, negotiated, told the EFCC everything, and EFCC gave him the equipment with which he recorded the conversation. So Otedola had presented himself to the EFCC and then made it clear that he was going to rope the lawmaker in. So it was one's word against the other.
That brings it back again to the loopholes in our own constitution.
Fina, I want to ask you,
make it fit.
Fina, do you know any country in this world that has a perfect constitution?
There is no perfect constitution, but we have constitutions that are working. We have constitutions that don't have loopholes to start with. We have a constitution in some other climes whereby if you're being charged for a particular case, given the fact that you're maybe a lawmaker or part of the political elites, you're going for it for big time. I'm tired of hearing, the one that pains me the most.
Between our constitution
Let me tell you the one that pains me the most.
Our legal system. I think these are two different things.
The constitution also is the one that paved way for the legal system to function the way it's functioning. Now, the one that hurts me the most in this country is the fact that a chief whip will sit down and tell me that if you're being charged with corruption, maybe have misappropriation of fund that is not running into trillions, it shouldn't be tax corruption until when it gets to that point and the person is still a chief whip. And then you bring it back again to some people who have been caught in the particular act, and someone will give them plea bargain. It's
clearly a problem of leadership.
And no one is returning the money.
Former American President Donald Trump undergo multiple investigations, multiple prosecutions over multiple charges.
I'm happy you went there.
Yes.
You know why I'm happy you went there?
It's about the individual, the leadership in charge. It's about the system, not the constitution. The American constitution has undergone amendments over time. That is to tell you that it is not perfect.
I'm happy you went to that line now. We have a constitution. We have a country called Nigeria.
What do you want amended in the constitution?
Gentlemen of the press.
Everything about it.
Gentlemen of the press.
From the removal of the immunity, to removal of the presidential pardon or the executive pardon. Yes, Moses, I'm here. But I'm not happy about the things.
Nobody is happy. There's no way you will talk about the issues of Nigeria and not get emotional. No. Yes, the constitution, leadership, which is the bane of what of the troubles that Nigeria is going through now. We advocate that there be a change in the way things are done, so Nigerians can be proud of their passport. Nigerians can be proud to be Nigerians. Yesterday, I was watching the first subway in Algeria, in Africa, the first one in Africa, right there in Algeria, the metro in Algeria, beautiful, beautiful to watch. Oh, well, I do hope that we'll pray that in our time, in our lifetime, Nigeria will take its rightful place. With all the mineral resources and everything Nigeria is blessed with, it deserves better. Oh, well, that's it on the show. A big thanks from the backroom staff and my colleagues here, Chukuma Okoro, Fina Kechuku, both getting emotional. I am Moses Humphrey, thanking you for joining us on the program. Stick around at 9 o'clock. We'll get into the papers proper. Join us again.